Yes'm, old friends is always best, less you can catch a new one that's fit to make an old one out of. One of the pleasantest things about book writing is that sometimes it brings one in touch with old friends. The only good thing about going to the fights is you can go into the green room and you can see some of your old friends that you haven't seen in a long time. The life of a model isn't easy, but I try to keep a good head on my shoulders by staying close to my family and old friends. They're my support system. Few and far between are the books you'll cherish, returning to them time and again, to revisit old friends, relive old happiness, and recapture the magic of that first read. These songs are old friends I have entertained myself with when I'm washing the dishes, driving to the store and walking down the aisles. The ones that you sing when you're driving in the car, and as a singer you always go back to them. Rejection and I are old friends. In this play we're dealing with relative truths, who's lying, who's telling the truth. But underneath that, Ed and I have hit this deeper level of intimacy between old friends that comes out in the play. One of the things I like about looking at pictures when you're young and also meeting back with old friends you haven't seen in a long time is, for me, it's a glimpse of who I was. Lay this unto your breast, old friends, like old swords, still are trusted best. Music is pretty intimate stuff and I can only work with very few people, Gonzalez being one, Maki being another and, on a completely different level, Broken Social Scene. With Broken Social Scene it's not one-on-one. It's a 1-on-12. It's very healthy, very comfortable, like a big potluck supper among old friends. Sleep deprivation and I are old friends. I've been familiar with it for almost 20 years, ever since I started getting up at ridiculous o'clock for breakfast TV. It is a great honor to be awarded a Nobel Prize. This is a wonderful experience for my wife Betty and me. We received congratulations by email, phone and post, many from old friends we had not seen for some time. We regard America and Europe as old friends. We keep old friends, but we make new friends in Japan, India, and China. I spend a lot of time thinking about this business of letting go of the children God gives to us for such a brief time before they go off on their own, letting go of old homes, old friends, old places and old dreams. Spring Day, I wrote main lyrics based on my personal experience with old friends. It is about my sad memories with him, and it makes me sentimental whenever I listen to the song. Dancing along with family members and old friends, especially during a marriage, is a memorable experience. As soon as you get a certain amount of attention, then everybody kinda wants to start taking pot shots at you. All your old friends that supported you don't support you anymore. When I see old friends, I'm very excited. If you're old enough to have a job and to have a life, you use Facebook exactly as advertised, you look up old friends. It's always great to see old friends, especially those I have not been able to see in 15 months. You don't have to have anything in common with people you've known since you were 5. With old friends, you've got your whole life in common. I kept saying that I'd never live in LA, and I didn't think I would. But that's where the work is, and I ended up making a lot of friends there, and my old friends moved out to Los Angeles too. And also, I think when you're famous, it's hard to live in a small town. I have 2 homes, like someone who leaves their hometown and or parents and then establishes a life elsewhere. They might say that they're going home when they return to see old friends or parents, but then they go home as well when they go to where they live now. Sarajevo is home, Chicago is home. Old friends die on you, and they're irreplaceable. You become dependent. About 70% of the district was new. It was a short amount of time to get to know hundreds and thousands of people, but with the help and support of old friends, we built a grassroots operation organically from the ground up. Old books that have ceased to be of service should no more be abandoned than should old friends who have ceased to give pleasure. To be with old friends is very warming and comforting. Old friends are best. I love everything that's old, old friends, old times, old manners, old books, old wine. Our freedom, our prosperity, and our security depend on a proper respect for the fortune of our neighbors, allies and old friends. I was away from the front lines for a while this spring, living with other troops, and considerable fighting took place while I was gone. When I got ready to return to my old friends at the front, I wondered if I would sense any change in them. It's fine to have social media that connects us with old friends, but we need tools that help us discover new people as well. Old friends become bitter enemies on a sudden for toys and small offenses. I had not met Tina Fey before I auditioned for 30 Rock. Some people think we're old friends from Second City days. I had always been a fan of Tina's, but I actually never planned on being in a sitcom. When Nirvana became popular, you could very easily slip and get lost during that storm. I fortunately had really heavy anchors: old friends, family. Old wood best to burn, old wine to drink, old friends to trust, and old authors to read. There are things that I can tell my friends that I just can't tell my family, just as far as how I'm feeling about things. My friends know me the best in a certain way. I just think old friends are really, really important. The thing about New York is, more than any other place I've ever been, you run into people on the street that you would never imagine you'd see, old friends, people just like there for a day or two. I find that all the time when I'm walking around Manhattan, running into people that I had no idea were even there. Not a lot of people know me outside of athletics, and believe it or not, I am actually quite shy. The exhilaration of a win or tears after falling are the extremes. It takes me a while to get to know someone, but once I do, I am very loyal to my old friends. I love coming back home and seeing old friends and family. I would say it keeps me grounded. Silver Jews was always a collection of old friends. Uncollection. To reminisce with my old friends, a chance to share some memories, and play our songs again. These people are real to me, and situations keep coming up where their emergence feels natural. It's like meeting old friends. I hope readers feel the same way. And though thou notest from thy safe recess old friends burn dim, like lamps in noisome air, love them for what they are, nor love them less, because to thee they are not what they were. I had scarcely met Stephen, and then one Saturday I met some old friends for coffee, and they were saying, "Gosh, it's terrible about Stephen, isn't it?" They told me that he had been in St. Bartholomew's Hospital in London having horrible tests, and then had been diagnosed with an atypical form of a rare disease, motor neuron disease. Larry Hagman and I are very old friends. Many of my old friends are gone now. I have a hard time dealing with the fact that they're just not there to talk to. I can't call them up for a rabbit-skin glue recipe anymore. One might expect that the families of murder victims would be showered with sympathy and support, embraced by their communities. But in reality they are far more likely to feel isolated, fearful, and ashamed, overwhelmed by grief and guilt, angry at the criminal justice system, and shunned by their old friends. I never feel lonely if I've got a book. They're like old friends. Even if you're not reading them over and over again, you know they are there. And they're part of your history. They sort of tell a story about your journey through life. Visit our website for more quotes, quoting.com.